Gerald Knaus, thanks for being with us. We saw in our report that migrants are now using a slightly different route in the Western Balkans to reach Europe. Is it because European countries have toughened their migration policy?
All the Balkan countries claim that they've closed their borders. Austria claims that it has closed its borders. But somehow this can't be right. Because in the end, where do the Syrians, Iraqis, Iranians, Afghans and Pakistanis who come to Germany, where do they come from? They come somewhere, not noticed, without television pictures, with a lot of money being paid to smugglers, but successfully.
So are you saying that, what we see happening on the Croatian border with this guards, sometimes using violence, is more of a photo op for the media?
I don't think it's a photo op for the media, but it is clear that all European countries want to send a message to the people not yet on the way that it is almost impossible to get through. The reality, however, is that those who've made it to Bihać, who've crossed at least 5 or 6 international borders already, who are only 300 kilometers away from Austria, they will not be deterred by the Croatian police activity.
And yet the IOM is saying that it is returning people to their home countries.
Yes, and the IOM is returning people also from Greece. And for everyone who wants to give up and who realizes that perhaps the smugglers have been lying, this may be a good option. But as long as we have, as we saw in the first half of this year, more than 90,000 people arrive in Germany successfully, there will be the news that it is possible still to get to Central Europe. And that means that people who've made a very difficult journey to reach Bosnia, who are very close to their final destination, most of them are very unlikely to give up.
We saw in our reports that many people were not granted the possibility of applying for asylum, regardless of the fact, that they are economic migrants or war refugees. Is it legal to prevent people to file for asylum?
In the last year, very, very few people apply for asylum in Croatia, which is remarkable. In the first half of 2018, about 400 people applied for asylum in Croatia, which means that neither the Croat authorities nor most of the migrants crossing Croatia seem to have an interest that anybody applies there. They either temporarily get stuck in Bosnia, or they make their way through Croatia and through Slovenia to richer countries, Austria or Germany.
Now, in closing, what is your forecast regarding migration to Europe in the next coming decades, taking into account that conflicts will probably continue, that poverty will probably continue as well, and taking into account, of course, climate change?
Well, the trend of the last decades shows us that large numbers of arrivals are rare. We've seen them after the Syrian war in 2015, and we've also had 3 years of large-scale arrival from Libya to Italy. But the average number of people who cross the whole Mediterranean in recent decades per day is less than 300. Now, these are numbers Europe should be able to cope with and treat those who arrive humanely, assess asylum claims fairly and fast, and also return those who do not need protection. But Europe is currently failing with low numbers of arrivals on all of these tasks. So if there will be future crises, unpredictable wars that we don't know about yet, and the numbers would rise again, I fear that at the current in the light of the current situation, the European Union would struggle again and would once again not be prepared.
Well, thank you very much for your insight today.
I thank you.